Here we are again, back on the air, live right here at Keokuk, Iowa, taking your praises, taking your pledges as blank as I can go. And yes, we do. We need all the help we can get down here. But right now we're coming on the air. We've got Homer and Dorothy Sherrill, and they're very good friends of mine, and I think they're very good friends of everyone, because everyone I mention them to, they say, "Oh, I know them. I like them." We think a lot of them. So Homer has written 4 different poems, 4 different books of poems. That's a lot of writing, isn't it? And he has some very special ones he's going to read for us tonight. And I imagine we'll let Dorothy read a few, because she loves to read too, and she's his incentive. I know that. And so Homer, if you'd like to start off with the Christian way, that's a good one to start off with.
That's what I thought. Everybody has their own ideas of what being a good Christian is. And so this one has some of those ideas in it. We come to church on Sunday to sing praises to his name. When we go to work on Monday, will we be doing things the same? Will church help us to be different? Will we learn from events this past? Will we benefit from the sermon? How long will the good thoughts last? We are influenced by material things that tend to pull us from God's way. We have to keep ourselves focused more on spiritual things each day. We must overcome the thoughts of evil and cling to a life filled with love. The reward will be long-lasting, life eternal in heaven above.
That is a very good poem. And that is exactly how we should think about our Christian life. Especially when we go to church, do we, the minute we walk out of church, forget what we learned in there? Or do we continue to live it through the week? And that's basically what Homer's saying in his poem, and that's what God wants us to do. Live what we learned in Sunday school and church. Dorothy, do you have one you'd like to read?
Yes, he gave me one that he'd like for me to read.
Okay.
It is someone watching. Someone sees our every move. I've heard that this is true. No matter whether day or night, someone still watches you. I wonder if we stop to think about this when having fun, or maybe we might not see if the sin was only one. If we knew that someone was near us all the time, we might try to be more careful or walk a straighter line. Maybe we should always live as though the Lord was there, living as he wants us to, and staying in his care.
Now, that is a very special message. That's exactly what we need to be doing, because God is with us wherever we're at, and he is watching what we're doing. So we must be very careful what we're doing, because you know what? He does see us, and he knows what we're doing. And we have another one here. It's called The Breath of Life. Oh, this is going to be a real good one. No, Homer, he sure does write some good ones, don't he?
This is one of God's gifts. We have many of. A lot of times we don't recognize them. How sweet to breathe life-giving air that fills our lungs so well. It comes to us, a gift from God, we cannot buy or sell. We cannot see or touch it. Our parents used it in the past. This gift is here for us to use until we breathe our last. We take for granted many things that keep our bodies going. We use our hands and feet without very little knowing. Our eyes, so very conveniently placed in the sockets in our head, help us to see wonders of nature and the church where we are wed. Our bodies are very efficient, as someone here has said, but without God's gift of air, our bodies would be dead.
You can tell that this Homer here is as thoughtful and a deeper thinker as the other Homer that we read his poems in school, can't you? You can sure tell it. So he has written 4 books of poems. Now, he's been a busy man, and I happen to know he does a lot of other things too. Dorothy has got one calling Be Thankful. Well, that's going to be a good one, I know.
We all need to be thankful.
Yes, we do.
Every day we need to be thankful. If you have a good day and things all go right, do you thank the Lord in your prayer at night? When you have a bad day and everything seems to go wrong, do you still say a prayer or do you sing a sad song? Maybe everything isn't always perfect or like we think it should be, but we would look around, someone might be worse off than you and me. I'm thankful for my good health, and I can see the bad days through. There is always something to be thankful for. Doesn't it seem that way to you?
Wasn't that a good one? You could tell that Homer was in deep thought when he wrote that one. You know, Homer, I'm going to ask you some personal questions. That'll get you ready for this next one, whatever it is. You know, how many years have you been going to church over at Hamilton First Baptist Church?
Oh, I don't know, 10 or 12. I don't
10
know
or
for
12,
sure.
yeah.
Probably.
That'd be about right, because I think I've been there about 16, and you came not too long after I did. And can you kind of just, in your own words, tell us what you like about going to church there?
Well, it's a small, friendly, loving church, and we feel welcome.
You are welcome. We love you there. You know, when you all came, it was right after we had the church split, wasn't it? Was it, or was it
Yes.
before?
Well, no, it was before.
Was it
We were there
before? Was it
Oh,
before?
yes.
I just couldn't exactly remember. But you know what? We have got a wonderful group there, and our church is full of love. But I begin to wonder if we're not too closely bound, because we don't seem to get involved with anything else. I just want you to think about this. We have a wonderful church, and I love them dearly. You know I love everyone there. You know that. And it is a wonderful, wonderful family, all of us. But you know what? We're going to have to reach out and bring some new ones in, and we're going to have to reach out to some other people to make our church grow. Yeah. What my biggest concern is, and I kind of think you two will have to agree with me, we don't have any young people in our church.
Not very many. We need to get some
This
more.
is where
I think there's a new family coming. We're going to get.
That'd be great.
Maybe we'll have some more.
But we're falling down in that area, and
most churches are.
We need a youth minister in there, really working hard to bring them in.
I think.
Otherwise, we're going to die away.
Yeah, the church I used to go to is the same way. It was a Methodist church, and most of them are older people.
Right.
They just don't have many young people in the churches today. I don't know why.
Now let me ask you, what happens if you don't have the next generation coming on with their children?
Eventually, they die out. That's right.
Uh-huh.
Well, ours moved away.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, our children live a long ways away from here, so
Yeah.
they're not here. And that's the trouble with a lot of families.
Oh, yeah.
In this small town community, their jobs are just not there for the young people. So when they get out of school, they move away, and they leave us old folks in the area. And so that's the reason most of us are older people.
That's true, but you know, there's still young people live in our town, and there's still teenagers in our town, and there's still lots of children in our town, and we're not getting them into our church as much as we should. The reason I bring this up is because it's where my heart is. You know, everything I do in that church involves children.
I think
everything I do everywhere involves children.
Isn't a lot of them that come to the Awanas from other places?
Yes, that's true.
So we have a pretty good group that comes from other churches to our Awana program. Yeah. That's what I understand.
That's true. Now, you want to read your next one, which I see is called a great big word called if.
Oh, yeah, if. That is a big word, isn't it?
Isn't that a big one?
It is a big one.
Gotcha.
If we walked where Jesus walked, what difference would we find? If we walked in his steps, would it register in our mind? We read the Bible stories and the parables he would tell. Would we feel somewhat different if we visited where he did dwell? If we walked the dusty paths his sandaled feet did walk, would we find it easier to put Christianity in our talk? If we ate only the food that Jesus ate back then, could it help to put our mind on more religious thoughts again.
You know, that brings me back to a conversation I had with some friends that said they wanted to go over to Jerusalem, go over and walk the ground where Jesus walked on. I said, you know, I've never even thought of that. Never. I think we can walk his walk right here where we are.
Oh, we can.
Don't you think we can?
But the
Don't matter where
question
you're
here
at.
is, would it make a difference?
Yes, would it make a
Would
difference?
it make a difference?
Yeah. Uh-huh. Right?
Some people think it does, and a lot of people like to travel over to Jerusalem for that very reason. I think they want to see what effect it has on them. You know,
Do you think it would have an effect on you?
I really don't know. It would be interesting to see. You know, I really.
I've never had the desire. Isn't that something? I hear so many
Well,
older
there's
people say that was
a
one
lot of
thing they
things we
wanted to
can
do
do
and they
here.
didn't get to do it. You know, and I just have never had the desire. Go ahead,
Well, I
Dorothy.
haven't had the desire to fly. Maybe that's why.
That might have a lot to do with it, Dorothy. Okay, she's going to read one now about God's power.
God's power. The moon is full, the stars so bright. I know full well God made this night. He made the earth. He made the trees. He made the little insects and the bees. He made the fish in the ocean there and taught us how to make a prayer. Our life on earth will not be long. We praise his name with words and song. We like the work he did so well, and his Bible stories we need to tell.
Uh-huh. So that kind of makes me think of my own story on the air, because I tell the Bible stories. Yes, that's where my heart is, getting the message out there to those children. Because I tell you, you know, I think back of when we had this little boy in school, gave his in Awanas, gave his life to Christ. I have told this story so many times because it really had a big impression on me. And he went to school and he no longer fought. He was quite a fighter before he let Jesus come into his heart. Okay. So he went to school and he told them he didn't fight anymore because he had Jesus in his heart. And this little boy came to the daycare where I teach, and he said, Rita, can you tell me how I can get Jesus in my heart? Little so-and-so says he has Jesus in his heart and he won't fight anymore. And he wanted whatever the other boy had. So think of that. Think of that. And this little boy had never been to church, but we got him to Awanas a few times.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, Homer's going to read us Christian Visions. Oh, this will be a good one. It's almost Christ Visions, isn't it?
Yeah. Christians have hope of heaven when our life on earth is done. We try our best against the odds and hope that we have won. We have visions of this place way up in the sky. We read the Bible stories and events of days gone by. When we leave this world and climb the golden stair, we hope the gate is open and we have some family there. If Jesus meets me at the gate and takes me by the hand, I hope he lets me enter in that heavenly wonderland. I hope you enjoyed the poems.
We have enjoyed the poems, Homer and Dorothy, and we really appreciate you coming tonight. That one makes me think of, that's really what it's all about, isn't it? When we get up there, and you know we're going to see each other when we get there. You're going to be there, you're going to be there, and I know I'm going to be there.
We sure hope so.
So, okay, you know what, they just keep making that funny signal to me. And I think it means
Time for somebody else
for
to come in.
someone else to come in. I didn't say it this time, did I?
Thanks for having us on.
We really thank you for coming, Homer and Dorothy, and we hope that we can have you back many times. Your poems are so inspiring, and you know I love them. You know that. So until next time.